Want to try Applique for the very first time? Are you a seasoned pro just looking for something fun and easy to do? I have a new block called Stepping Stones. Stick around for a few minutes and I'll show you how easy this is. Hi everyone, I'm Paula. Do you have a masterpiece in mind that you'd like to create? I hope that any inspiration and guidance that I show you today will help you along the way. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button below. Today I want to talk to you about something I created just for beginners, but after I did it, I thought, I think seasoned pros would like to do this too. I've created a new applique pattern that I call stepping stones. It's just made up of 3 different size circles. Let's get started. I'm going to show you 3 different ways to make this block today. First, raw edge applique, meaning that all of the edges around your circle are raw cut. I'm going to show you how you can apply these raw edge appliques on with a fancy stitch on your machine. The second way today, I'm going to show you how you can actually turn all of these edges under so that you have a nice finished edge for your applique and you can just use a straight stitch on your machine to sew these down. And the third way today is I'm going to show you how to do the turned edge and hand applique this on to your background square. You will need a few materials to do this block today. The first thing you're going to need is you're going to need your circle templates. You're going to need some plastic templates so you can draw your shapes. If you're going to turn your edges under, you're going to need some cardboard templates. You're going to need a rotary cutter that is not for fabric. You'll need some Reynolds freezer paper to apply onto the backs of your fabric so that you can draw your shapes. You'll need a pair of non-fabric scissors so you can cut your shapes out. You'll need a glue stick. The Elmer's washable school glue, the disappearing purple, is the one that I use. And you'll need a sewing needle and some thread if you're going to turn the edges under or hand sew it onto the background square. Let me show you how we're going to do this. So today I am using a 10-inch background square. I will also be using a 4-inch circle for the center, a 2.5-inch circle for one of the corners, and a 2-inch circle for this other corner. These shapes are going to be lined up in a diagonal fashion. Let me show you how we do this. You're going to cut a piece of Reynolds freezer paper. Now this freezer paper is very unique in the way that on one side it has plain paper and on the other side it's got this shiny plastic coating on it. Generally how I use this is I cut out a piece of the freezer paper that is about the same size. I'm going to use my non-fabric rotary cutter to do this. I'm going to take my freezer paper and my fabric over to the iron. I'm going to lay my fabric pretty side down and I'm going to put this freezer paper shiny side onto the fabric, just like that. I'll take my hot iron and I'm just going to run this right over the top. I'm going to hold it there for about 5 seconds. It ends up sticking to it, just like that. What I use this for, it makes light work of drawing any kind of a shape on the paper side. It keeps the fabric from stretching out underneath your pencil or your pen, and it makes it very, very easy to cut out. Once it's cut out, it's extremely easy to peel off, and there's no residue that's left behind. So then what I can do is I can just take my shape and I can draw right on the paper side exactly what I need to cut out. I'm going to take my non-fabric scissors and I'll go ahead and cut out our shape. Once you cut out all your shapes, I want you to get out your glue stick and I just want you to put a few dabs of glue on the underside and then set it back down pretty side up. A few dabs of glue, set it back down. Okay? Now, I was not careful in how I placed these. I just placed them and wherever they are, they are. If they end up being a little off, that's okay. It will just give the curve of the path a little more interest. Now the stitch that I want you to look for today on your sewing machines is this stitch here. It's a couching stitch. and it works lovely for raw edge applique. This stitch starts in the center of your presser foot and goes to either side of the center mark. When you adjust this stitch tight enough, the raw edges become encased in this stitch and it will keep it from fraying. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my shape underneath my presser foot and put the edge of this shape right in the center mark of my presser foot, as you see here. Now, if I like to set my stitch settings a little narrower than what the default is. So my stitch length I set to 2.0 and my stitch width I set to 4.5. Before I begin, I make sure that I have plenty of tail for both the top and bobbin threads. Once everything is in position, I'm ready to go and I just start stitching. I'm going to slowly turn this fabric so that the edge of the circle stays on that center mark of my presser foot. I'm going to continue all the way around. I will stop about an inch away from where I began, and I'm going to grab this top thread here, and I am going to make sure that this goes to the bottom of my block. And I'm going to hold on to those thread tails so that they don't get knotted up in my approaching threads. I'll continue stitching and stitch right up to the point where I started. And I'm going to stop in the center needle position. Lift up my needle and bring out my work. From then, I'm going to go ahead and cut these tails. I'm going to go ahead and take this top thread and I'm going to bring it to the bottom. And from there, I'm going to grab 2 threads in one hand and 2 threads in another. And I'm going to go ahead and just tie this off. This is just going to give me a little bit of insurance that these stitches won't pull out later. Just a double knot is all I need. And I go ahead and I cut these tails short because my thread is light in color and you will not be able to see it from the top side. I cut them about 1.5 inches long. There we go. Our first circle is all stitched. We're going to continue to do the same process for these other 2 circles and our block will be done. Now, let me talk to those of you that would like to have the edges turned under and not have to worry about raw edges. This will also allow you to be able to do a straight stitch all the way around on your machine instead of a fancy stitch. Let's get started. So the first thing to understand is when you cut out your circles, you need to cut them out 1/2 inch larger than what you need. So for example, this circle is cut out at 2.5 inches. And this will create my 2-inch circle. So if I need a 2.5-inch circle, I'm going to need to create a circle that's 3 inches. Just look to your pattern to grab that. Let me show you what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and remove the freezer paper from the shape. Now for beginners, if you need to have a line here so that you know where your 1/4 inch mark is, please feel free to grab your pencil and your plastic template and make a new mark. You're just going to go very gently all the way around that edge. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take some thread and a needle, and we are going to go between the edge and this line. I am going to make a running stitch all the way around this edge. My stitches are about 1/8 inch long and they're about 1/8 inch apart. If you can take a few stitches at a time, feel free to do so. If you're just starting out and this is the first time you've ever done this, just start out with 1 stitch at a time. You'll be fine. Try not to make your stitches too large because it could leave little points on your circle in the final step. You're going to continue this process until you go all the way around the shape. When you're done, you're going to cut yourself some really long tails. I go at least 7 or 8 inches long. Your next step is taking this over to the iron. You are going to make yourself a little cardboard template. I use cereal boxes, cracker boxes, whatever I can get my hands on. As long as it's pretty thick cardboard, you're fine, and it's not corrugated. You're going to take your cardboard shape and you're going to set this in the middle of your circle. You're going to go ahead and take both tails at the same time and you're going to just give it a gentle tug. You will see that the fabric is now gathered to the inside of the circle. You'll go ahead and take your iron and you're just going to give it a gentle press, holding on to the tails so that your hands are out of the way. Once the initial press is done, I go ahead and I loosen up this edge where the tails are coming out and I slip the cardboard shape out. I can use this again over and over. At this time, I'm going to grab the tails and pull gently to cinch it back up. I'm going to hold on to the tails and give it a gentle press. I will then turn it over, grab my starch, give it a little spray. Wait a few seconds, and then go ahead and go straight down and give that a good press. You're going to bring your shape over to your work. I'm going to just cut those tails so that they're about 1 inch long. Keep them on the back side of the shape. And then I'll go ahead and set this down on my background. I'm going to give it a little bit of glue. And I'm going to go ahead and stitch this down, staying about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge with the straight stitch all the way around. And I'm just going to take my time as I stitch this straight stitch all the way around my circle. If it's easier to pick up the presser foot and pivot, I can do that too. I'm going to go all the way around and stop where I started stitching. I'll go ahead and do the same thing, grab 2 tails in each hand and make a nice double knot. There we go. Now this one is on and all the edges are turned. It will not fray. The third way I'm going to show you today is for those of you that do not have a sewing machine. You can still do this project by hand with the edges turned under. What you're going to do is you're going to decide which stitch you want to use. There's 2 different ones you can do. One, you will not see the stitch at all, and the second, you will actually see the stitch at the top. If you want to do the stitch where you can't see it at all, you're going to just slide your needle underneath the edge like that. And you're basically going to go down into the background square and then come up right on the very edge of that shape. I know you can't see this very well because my camera is not the best, but I'm sure you're going to get the hang of this. You're going to go down into the background square and come up right on the edge of the shape. Again, down on the background square, up on the very edge of the shape. And you're going to do this all the way around. For the other stitch that you can use, what you're going to do is you're going to start on the back of the project and you're going to bring your needle up very close to the edge, I would say about 1/8 of an inch away, and you're just going to do a running stitch. You're going to have those stitches about 1/8 of an inch long and about 1/8 of an inch apart. And you're going to do this all the way around. Once you're done, you're going to send your needle to the other side and you'll go ahead and tie this off with a tailor's knot. I'm just going to take my needle and I'm going to weave it underneath one of my stitches that I have here. And I'm going to go through the loop that I make. I'll do that again under that same stitch and go through the loop that I make. I can cut that tail and we're done. My favorite way of doing this is raw edge way with my fancy couching stitch. It's so quick and easy and very forgiving. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, post a comment in the comment section below, and turn on that notification bell so you won't miss a single step in future videos. Love what you see? Don't forget to join me live on Twitch for interactive tutorials and real-time fun, Monday through Wednesday. You'll find my channel link in the description below. And there you have it. Our block is done. Let me show you how this goes in the quilt. What I did is I basically lined these up in rows, and I made sure that whatever size circle I started with at the top was at the top of every single block in that row. So for instance, this row here started with the 2-inch circle. And then I basically laid this one like this. And then I took the next one and took the 2-inch circle and laid it like this. And then the next one, 2-inch circle in the top. And next one, 2-inch circle in the top. Now this block is extremely versatile. You can actually set this up like an Irish chain block, where you have blocks that are coming together like this. You could have them all going in one direction. You could have them going in as chevron zigzag. You can have them however you want. Play with them, see what you come up with. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you give this project a try. Even if you just create one block, practice raw edge applique with that fancy couching stitch I showed you. Give it a try. I think you're going to enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I can't wait to see you next time. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Happy quilting. Bye, everyone.